very first candidate forum. It is a pleasure to see everybody here. So many new faces, so many familiar faces. My name is Ruth Moreno, and I am a member of Engage Miami. How many of you have heard of Engage Miami prior to this event? Applause for that. Well, for those of you that are new, Engage Miami is an organization dedicated to youth civic engagement within Miami-Dade by developing a culture of civic participation that is impactful, interesting, and fun, as tonight is proved, right, with the waffles. Studies have demonstrated that millennials are often not engaged due to lack of information, which is why we're here today. We want to bring the candidates to all the millennials in District 2 so they can get all of the information firsthand. The District 2 Commission race is very significant because of the impact that it has in the city of Miami and the county at large. With 70% of the wealth being located within District 2, there are very severe consequences to whoever is elected. With issues such as gentrification, climate change, development, and transit at the forefront, it is imperative that millennial voters, who make up 30% of the district, are informed. Engage Miami has invited all of the candidates to running to complete a comprehensive questionnaire about the issues that matter to all of the residents in District 2, and those that shared their responses have been invited to participate in the forum. Mr. Scolari has joined us, and we invite everybody, he's part of the audience today. And we invite everyone to please talk to all of the candidates about the issues that matter most to you after the event as well. Additionally, we would like to invite the audience to join us for a straw poll, as the candidate forum is titled, "Which Candidate is Right for You?" So after the forum, we're going to have a ballot box at the end with a sample ballot, and we invite all of you to go and see who you guys chose to be your representative for this commission race District 2. And we will post the results online. Having said that, it is now my pleasure and privilege to introduce our moderator. Florida native Billy Corbin's feature documentary, the directorial debut, Raw Deal, A Question of Consent, premiered at the Sundance Film Festival in 2001, making him one of the youngest directors in Sundance history. Following that success, Corbin and producing partners, Adam Spellman and David Sipkin, co-founded Rancouver, a Miami Beach-based content creation company, and took on another Florida true crime story, this one a lot closer to home. The New York Times called 2006 Cocaine Cowboys a hyperventilating account of the blood-drenched Miami drug culture in the 60s, in the 70s, and the 80s. Corbin directed two of the top 5 highest-rated ESPN 30 for 30s, the Peabody Award-winning The U and Broke. In 2011, saw the release of 2 additional Corbin-directed movies, Square Grouper, The Godfathers of Ganja, and Limelight. In 2014, Corbin premiered the 4-hour miniseries The Tanning of America, One Nation of Hip-Hop, under hip-hop. Cocaine Cowboys Reloaded and The U Part 2. His latest Dogfight, a violent expose on illegal underground backyard fights in South Florida, premiered earlier this year at Miami International Film Festival and is now streaming on Netflix. Also this year, Corbin and his team won an Emmy for their work on ESPN's 30 for 30 series. His 2016 slate includes a miniseries on the life and times of antivirus software pioneer turned murder suspect John McAfee. In addition to being a prolific and talented filmmaker, Corbin is also an astute observer of local Miami politics and a frequent political commentator on social media with over 40,000 Twitter followers. And he recently received the key to the city of Miami. Please let's welcome our moderator for the night, Billy Corbin, with a warm round of applause.
Good night. I think that intro was longer than the whole debate, but it's true. My producing partners and I did recently get the keys to the city of Miami, which was incredibly disappointing. But no, I mean, like, when you hear that, like, the city of Miami is going to give the producers of Cocaine Cowboys 3 keys, I mean, you're just kind of hoping it's going to be something else. It's great to be here at the District 2 debate in District 5. To be fair, To be fair, in the redistricting, District 5 got all of the future waterfront property, while District 2 got all the future underwater property. And I followed it on the map. I don't know if you've ever seen the district. Actually, it goes just like this. I don't know if you've seen District 2. And there's now an emoji for that on 9.1 if you've updated your iPhones. But it's great to be here in Wynwood, the neighborhood of the future, and always will be. It's true. No, but we were going to hold the event in District 2, but we just didn't know who to bribe. No, I'm just kidding. It's March startup. So, too soon? Too real? What happened? No, they'd only get their act together in the city of Miami and do what Miami Beach did. There's an app for the iPhone called iBribe. It cuts through all the bureaucracy and red tape. You can get right to the bottom of it. But I love Wynwood. I do. I love Wynwood because I hate car windows. I know you're all gonna be like, I need to check out my car. What the hell is my car? I'm robbing all your stuff right now while we're doing this. Let's get started, shall we? We'll get this done real quick. It's gonna be painless, guys. It really is. Oh yeah, I can tell. So this is how we're gonna do it. There's gonna be 5 rounds in this forum, and each with its own line of questioning. The first round is called Hold the Waffles, and it's a lightning round of about 15 questions, and all the candidates can do is hold up a sign that says yes, no, or waffle, which is kind of the PG version. That was a Freudian slip. It was a PG version of like the little crap emoji, the smiling duty emoji. But it's like that's kind of what the waffle situation is. Then we're going to do a second round called a gauntlet, where it's the toughest questions that we could think of directed to each of the individual candidates. The third round is a roundtable discussion on 2 important topics that all the candidates will get to chime in on. The fourth is called Keeping It 100. Did I pronounce that right? I think so. And it's going to be a surprise question. One question that each of the candidates will have to answer candidly. And finally, we're going to do the real commish, which is going to allow the audience to get to know the real you, the real commissioners, and some of their feelings and tastes on personal issues. And then finally, each of the candidates is going to be able to give a closing statement. A candidate will have 90 seconds to respond to each question. We have a timekeeper, Keisha Moody. Where's Keisha? Kaisha, I'm sorry. Our timekeeper, Kaisha Moody. She's right up here. She's going to keep track. Let's hear it for Kaisha. And now it's time to meet the candidates. Javier Gonzalez, the only guy in town that makes me feel overdressed. He is... Really? He's a civic leader with deep roots in Coconut Grove. He was elected to the Coconut Grove Village Council in 2013 and served as council chairman until earlier this year. You know that they wrote a joke here about how like you can't wait to go home to get into shorts and a guayabera. When like not too soon, it was too late that joke. Javier Gonzalez, everybody. Grace Solaris, by the end of tonight, she will have filed lawsuits against everybody in this room. You bet. And she really, when they say you can't fight City Hall, I think she really disproves that point altogether. She's a paralegal and a community activist known for her constant presence in Dinner Key as a founder of Miami Neighborhoods United, an umbrella organization for neighborhood associations. She fought against many aspects of Miami 21 that she considered bad for Miami. Since then, she's been the lead plaintiff in every lawsuit against the city of Miami, fighting Museum Park, Grove Bay, Skyrise Miami, the Marlins deal, and again against all of us later tonight. If you want to piss off Grace, just say Marlins deal. If you want to make her smile, say grandchildren. Grace Solaris. Ken Russell is a small business owner who recently became involved in local politics over an issue that affected him deeply, and that is the pollution at a city park across the street from his house. And also, He is if I'm getting this right, and he comes from a long line of yo-yo champions, but he himself is a yo-yo champion, not to be mistaken for a champion yo-yo, but enough about Rick Scott. Please welcome Ken Russell, everybody. And Lori Woods is a small business owner who started Elwood's Pub. Anybody know Elwood's Pub? She thought, recession, let's open a bar. We all need a drink. And that's when she opened Elwood's in downtown. Now she's seeing a boom with the new traffic there. And she is the candidate who has lived in Miami for the shortest time, but has made a mark in civic life nonetheless. As a member of the Downtown Miami Partnership, a private sector group, she's been involved in addressing quality of life issues. And go have a pint with Lori and talk politics at Elwood's. And she's also a big football fan. That's with a U. Football, right? Football. Lori Woods, everybody. And finally, only 5 of the candidates actually responded to the questionnaire that Engage Miami sent out. So that, of course, leaves out 94 other candidates for District 2. And one of the candidates who did fill out the questionnaire but could not be here tonight, she told us 3 hours ago that she had to go to urgent care. I'm guessing the urgent matter was that she realized I was hosting this debate. The care is she realized that Al Crespo was going to be videotaping in the front row. We're in a sort of law firm of urgent and care here, I think. But for those of you who don't know, Teresa Sarnoff is a paralegal turned realtor and the wife of current District 2 Commissioner Mark Sarnoff. Teresa has been involved in various civic issues, most notably in regards to the homeless of Miami, at least as of 3 or 4 days ago that I'm aware of. Is she here? Who cares? She could have showed up. There's a chair for her. She's not Elijah. She could have sat in the empty chair. A foundation she co-founded with her husband Mark raised money to kickstart a sleeping mat program for Miami street homeless, along with charity Camilla's House. If you want to find those mats, just look at their shit mat that they produce. As voters, she made the map. I didn't make the map. What is everybody judging me for? But is Teresa here tonight, or is she not here tonight? Where is she? She's here? Yeah. Where is she? In the back there? Yeah, here she is. All right. Okay. That says Zapatos por Mayor, and I'm thinking, why the hell not? A pair of shoes could do better than any of the mayors of Miami in the last couple of years. Round 1. Hold the waffles. Candidates can only respond by holding up a sign that either says "sí," "no," or "waffle." I say waffle in Spanish. Is there a...
Waffle, you have to decide.
Yeah, waffle means
Así, you know.
All right.
Okay.
Here we go. All right. Do you support the City of Miami's commitment of $108 million in tax subsidies to the developers of Miami World Center? Where were these guys 2 years ago? So you know, we're doing like a live kind of a take the temperature of the audience thing. You guys all got your little thing here. So if you like what you're hearing, you can go ahead and do the live focus group thing of keeping it 100, or the waffle. I guess it just means the The smiley emoji poop is kind of what it is. Number 2, candidates, do you support the privatization of sanitation employees? Number 3, does Miami need to reform its pension program?
What was the question?
Does Miami need to reform its pension program? We have Grace. It's a waffle. It's a waffle? It's a waffle. Do you support Museum Park being managed by a private conservancy group instead of the city?
No.
Wow. I didn't expect that to be the most divisive. Do you support reforming how local campaigns are financed by starting a public financing system for city races?
After this race, yes.
Número 6. Do you support raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour? Oddly enough, I don't believe the small business owners at the end of it, but we'll talk about that in a moment. Will you lobby the county to make the land behind American Airlines Arena into a real park? Número 8. Would you block any new infrastructure or private development projects that did not adequately take into account sea level rise projections? That's right. Would you block any new infrastructure or private developments that don't adequately take into account sea level rise? Okay, there we go. Do you support new regulation that would allow ride-sharing apps like Uber and Lyft to operate in Miami? I thought someone would say no, because that's how I got here tonight. So there had to be one no there. Do you support the skyrise development in downtown Miami? I'm sorry, I'm going to amend that question. Do you support the public subsidy for the development of skyrise Miami in downtown? Okay. Do you support creating a new CRA to help finance a soccer stadium in Little Havana?
No.
Would you support any scheme, including that of the Miami-Dade County Public Schools inexplicably getting involved in a soccer stadium and MLS team to gain public money? Oh, I hear you guys already answered. All right, never mind, I didn't finish the question. Would you support another half-penny sales tax if those funds were only committed to building new mass transit, including light rail, heavy rail, and bus rapid transit routes?
Not like it's been done now.
Oh, all right, fair enough. Fair enough. Yep. If your bid for city commission is unsuccessful, and I can't imagine how that would be true for any of you, especially the cardboard standing at the end of the race, would you consider running for another elected office? Why does that not surprise me, Ken? Finally, we got 2 more. Do you support legalizing recreational marijuana? Lori grew up in Denver, she just said.
And make it free.
If we can pay the Marlins $2.4 billion, I don't see why we couldn't just have recreational marijuana for everyone in the city of Miami. I think the guy who needs it most is probably Jeff Loria, to say the truth. Do you support the Ultra Music Festival continuing to occur in downtown Miami? How many of you are on Molly right now? And the final question in this round, how many of you believe that the City of Miami Police Department, and particularly the union contract, requires some reform and renegotiation? All right, there you go. That's the last question. I do want to go back a little bit, though, and let's talk about recreational marijuana for a second. Because, Javi, you said no.
No, I said yes.
Unequivocally, you said yes, or you flipped? Okay, you said okay. Grace, you had a waffle, or you can't have a waffle. You had a waffle. Let's talk a little bit about this, because everybody here is drunk right now. So let's talk about why the line drawn with recreational marijuana.
I'll tell you, I've never tried marijuana, unfortunately, because I'm very happy when they use it. So I don't see, or I cannot tell you what kind of an impairment it would have on an individual to actually perform their daily duties, whether it's a nurse or a doctor or whoever. However, I did see the Sanjay Gupta 2-hour, and I am wholeheartedly for the medicinal marijuana because it is incredibly effective.
How would you say it's different, however, from alcohol, which is legal and regulated and taxed?
Actually, I don't see any difference in it.
Fair enough, that's what I thought. So,
I don't see anything, but it's already approved.
Right.
It's just a step to legalize even another form of alcohol. In a different form.
I understand. Ken, my question for you is, if you were waffling on this issue, how many black people in Miami-Dade County have to be behind bars before you would support the legalization? I think the statistics are very clear that you have a disproportionate enforcement of the existing laws. And why isn't it time for significant reform to change? And clearly it's not happening at the federal level. It has to happen, regrettably, at the local level, which is great, because that means you guys still have some significant power beyond, building towers and giving money to sports millionaires and things. But how many black people have to get locked up in Miami-Dade County before you say, you know what, this is ridiculous. We need to start looking at this another way.
Well, let me put it that way. I absolutely agree. We need to start looking at it in a different way. I don't have a moral stance against marijuana. What I want to see is how it's doing in the other states. What are the effects legally, and how does it play out in those states? And that's before I can make my decision.
But that is the ultimate waffle, because Denver has been an experiment in democracy that is a phenomenal success. By all measures, there is an outrageous increase in revenue for teachers, for police officers. They have so much money, they don't even know what to do with it. They're supposed to legally...
Well, that's part of the point. They're having to hide all the money because the federal government still won't recognize it as proper income.
Then we have to start somewhere. We have to start somewhere. So you're still waffling. You're still a waffle. All right, fair enough. We know where you stand. Round 2, even though I've already put Ken through the gauntlet, round 2 is actually called the gauntlet. We're starting with Javi. As one of the 73 realtors running for District 2 Commission, I don't know how you find a condo without you. I'm sure that you follow the real estate market closely. A big issue in this election has been new development, and what many feel is overdevelopment in the city of Miami. Can you give us an example of a new project that is being built that you support, and then a project that you oppose, and please specify why.
That's actually a pretty simple question. First of all, let me clarify about my real estate career. I am a residential realtor who does a lot of single-family homes and also a lot of first-time home buyers. I don't do the super high-end. But I'll give you some projects that do work. Any of the transit projects that run through the corridor from 37th Avenue, 27th Avenue, anywhere that there's a Metro Rail stop. A lot of that housing is going to be in a range where it makes it affordable. It's a rental properties, and that's a project that works. What I'm completely against, and I've been vocal against it for years, is any of these high-end projects where it's offshore money. It doesn't do us any good. It's never done us any good. I'll give you a perfect example. Park Road and Granite Bay. Those units, the first building in the front is a 55-unit building. So it's built for upper income. Now, a 55-unit building is not going to be fully occupied. It's going to be 25% occupied. Out of that 25% occupied, it's probably going to be, let's say we have 55 units, 25 people, we're going to go maybe to 10%. That's not going to do anything for my community, and I spent $75 million building the building. So I think what we need to do is we need to have a very smart density within the transit that addresses our future issue, and it addresses this entry-level housing that we need, not only residential, from a rental aspect, but also from a purchase aspect. That's what I believe in, that's what I will support.
Thank you. Miami has a tendency to be at the top of any list of bad stuff and at the bottom of any list of good stuff, if you ever follow the lists. The cost of housing, obviously, is at the top among New York and San Francisco, yet the average income is way towards the bottom of the list, particularly among millennials. What, if anything, do you feel that you could do as a District 2 Commissioner to help remedy that disparity?
I think, first of all, as a commissioner at District 2, you set the tone for all of the commissioners. You set the tone for the city and how it's run. So right now we have a very pro-development commission. It's very simple because it's your tax base. It's where your money's coming from. So if you're trying to juice your tax base, you're going to build big projects. I think what we need to do is there's a lot of things that we can work with. Inclusionary zoning, you're going to hear that a lot. It's got its own limits. But I think we need to look at a long-term fix, and also we need to look at, we tend to use a magic word called medium price point of the home. And they take it from all of Miami-Dade County. I think we need to become more specific to the areas that we need to address. So we need to address, City of Miami, District 2, District 2, Morningside, Brickell, Wynwood, the Grove. So we need to be more area specific. The other way too that we're going to help this out is through amending Miami 21. It's actually a big deal. Miami 21 is spot zoning, and it's kind of scary when you look at it from a whole, is that it tramples small residential areas. Like Little Havana is going to be on the target range. We just won a war on the Village West on Day Avenue where we stopped the nose zoning. So I think we have to look at it micro, and we also have to say that I've said this before, we need to go to the feds and say that we need to increase the federal housing authority's limits.
All right. Thank you with your campaign has been sending out a lot of attack mailers recently. The post office thanks you for that. One of them has been a picture of Ken Russell with the words 100% guilty, as if he's O.J. Simpson. As it turns out, it's guilty of not voting in municipal elections, so be it, but it's a little bit damning. You've also sent out attack mailers accusing Teresa Sarnoff of being a Republican, and she and Mark holding a fundraiser for Florida Governor Rick Scott. And I believe until recently you yourself were a registered Republican. So how is it that you feel that this is just or appropriate or effective in this campaign?
Having changed, you mean? Or what is the
No,
effect of
the attack mailers.
Oh, I think it's very effective. You know why?
Wow.
And I'll tell you why.
Keep it at 100, I guess, right?
Because it's not made up stuff. Everything that is said on those mailers are the true words of the individuals who said them. We are not quoting or making up things. The PAC is actually taking the words of the candidates.
100% guilty.
Exactly, 100% guilty. I think someone who has been in this society, in this city, living for 13 years and never actually gone to vote, not worried about who was representing us, who was going to take the lead of this city to actually impact me, my children, and my grandchildren, and now he comes up and wants us to vote for him. I think it's important for the people to know that. I mean, because I was working at the time, sir, and I made time to go to vote. And I had children to raise, and I made the time to go to vote. So I think that is no excuse. Thank you.
You're a Republican. What's wrong with being a Republican?
Oh, you're talking about Teresa now.
Right. Right there. Right there. You can address her if you'd like. I think that's set to taser there, I think.
The thing of the changing of the parties of the Sarnoff was totally different. Mr. Sarnoff changed parties in order to get a $25,000 donation to his campaign. There was money in there. There was nothing money in me. The last time that I voted Republican ticket was in Reagan. Ever since then, I've been voting. I voted for Commissioner Jose Javier Rodriguez. I voted for all kinds of Democrats in the past. So since I've never really voted for down the party line, I am more of an independent, always have. And that's exactly why I did at the time of running.
Why use the PAC?
Yeah, and I will say that you essentially endorsed the message of the PAC. So is that an acknowledgement that the PAC is essentially under your control?
It's not under my control.
Ay, mío.
It's not under my control. Ay, mío. The truth is not under my control.
Oh, come on.
It's not. It's not. I can tell you that I find out about the things when I get it in the mail. I swear to you, this is the absolute
It's registered to your main campaign consultant. Come on.
He is like that campaign consultant.
But he likes
right
he
there.
likes this. Listen, you know.
Do you tell me what he's going to?
Grace is a lovely woman, but she's not buying any green bananas. So what I'm telling you is, you don't want to give the woman a heart attack when she gets the mailer in the mail. Why don't you show it to her before you send it out and shit all over the other candidates?
He doesn't give me a heart attack. I start laughing and I like it.
Come on.
He doesn't give me a heart attack. On the contrary.
So Ken, let me ask you, if you've never taken the time to get up and vote in a municipal election before, which I do, if it's just a dog catcher on the ballot, I get up and I go and vote for anything and everything. I think it is utmost responsibility of myself as a citizen of this country. There are people all over this world who literally die, and people in this country who have died for the right to get up and go cast a vote in an election. And there is something to be said for the disingenuousness of you saying, I've never bothered to vote, but now you should get up and bother to vote for me. So how would you respond to Grace?
Absolutely. It's not disingenuous. I've been very honest from the start, and that's where they pulled the quotes from, because I'm not playing politics and trying to hide from my past. I have voted since I was 18. Federal, state, primaries, county. But you know what? When I moved back here 12 years ago, I was disillusioned with local politics. And I was turned off by local politics. So yes, I didn't vote in the last couple elections, it's true. But what's more important to me about this attack, which I think is the more important issue here, is the way you run your campaign will dictate the way you govern. And I think that this tone of negativity that we've seen across the country for so long really needs to stop. This polarized fighting, this method of using leverage and to get what you want is the wrong way. Many of us have attended seminars called Good Government Seminars here. And I attended one myself, to which the mentor at the seminar was Grace's campaign strategist, Kristen Olin. And during that time, Danielle Levine Pava, who was also under his supervision, was asked at that seminar, do you regret anything about your campaign? And she said, the nasty mailers that my PAC sent out. And after she left, we asked Christian, but was it worth it? And he said yes. And I disagree with that. I have an ECO, which raises money to do campaigning. I could use it for nasty, negative things. But I'm using it for a positive message. And that's the way I want to run this government as well. Positive.
So again, you've gone after some of the candidates, and perhaps rightfully so, for being financed by major developers in the city of Miami, who I think it's not a major shock run the city of Miami. And to be fair, I think your turnout in municipal elections is not inconsistent with District 2's turnout in municipal elections. I think a lot of people are disillusioned, and that's part of the reason of this event tonight is to re-engage particularly young voters who, if you see the turnout, you realize that you have the power to elect the next commissioner of District 2. Because if you just show up and vote, there's actually call me Miss Cleo, but I suspect Ken might even show up to vote in this particular district. Walter Mercado, I'm sorry. So, but Ken, let me ask you, you've gone after some of the candidates, and rightfully so, for their involvement with fundraising with developers. You also have raised money through local developers. I think there's a lot of fear in this city, and rightfully so, in District 2, of Trojan horse candidates, of candidates who run campaigns under the guise of anti-development or whatever it may be, and then once they get the opportunity to sit on the commission, turn into a very different beast. Why is it, with your lack of municipal voting record, with you getting support and contributions from local developers, should we believe that you are going to go into local government and behave the way you say you are now?
Absolutely. I have a lifetime of civic involvement. I've done things for my community from the very start, for years. You name it, from charity events to helping, starting not-for-profits. But what we're talking about right now is development. My criticism of the Sarnoffs isn't that they received developer money. It's the triangle of the conflict of interest, where you have a sitting commissioner, you have the developers who are dependent on his vote, and then you have his wife, who is reaping in nearly $1 million over this last year, who without his help wouldn't have received a single dollar. And that's the conflict of interest that I'm against. As far as development goes, I love the idea of living in a beautiful metropolis that grows in a healthy way. I'm not anti-development. I'm pro-smart and healthy development. And by that, I mean where our infrastructure keeps up with the development, where it's put in the proper place and according to the proper zoning and code, and where our quality of life is prioritized over that development. Development's going to be at the table, but we need to make sure that the people are as well.
Thank you, Ken. Gloria, you've talked a lot about the problem of homelessness in your campaign. What have you done as a business owner in downtown to help alleviate homelessness?
Hired homeless people, tried to assist actual employees that work for my business in getting out and assisting them with connecting them to the right places to go to get assistance for housing. I've served on the Quality of Life Committee in downtown Miami for the last 4.5 years. At that meeting, we have the Homeless Coalition. I work with all the different providers of housing, jobs, different opportunities. We have a very large group of homeless people that has to deal with the Cottinger Act. I was at those meetings when we sat before the federal courthouse and tried to negate and change things. And it is truly a human issue, but it is really a public safety issue in the downtown, the urban core. And I do everything I can to make a difference and also educate and bring people in. We had a salon series at my business, Elwood's Pub, where we actually had people come in and speak about how you can get involved and how you can make a difference. Much of it is education of everyone and actually getting them involved so that we can fix this problem. And the problem is housing. There are not enough places for people to be placed. We don't have enough beds, but we don't have enough houses for people to move on to out of a shelter. So we as a community need to work on all of it.
They say that Los Angeles is where you go when you want to be somebody, New York is where you go when you are somebody, and Miami is where you come when you want to be somebody else. And you are the youngest Miamian in the campaign. And one of the great complaints about Miami politics, politicians and constituents alike is that there is a transient population and a lack of institutional memory. As a relatively new Miami, you can tell us where you're from, and we said Denver earlier, and how long you've been in Miami. What really makes you think that you have your fingers on the pulse of the people and can make a significant enough difference without the experience that a lot of us have in Miami?
Thank you. One of the benefits, actually, of coming here and having lived here for 5 years is that you come with an open mind. You come with fresh ideas. I lived in California for many years, which is much more progressive, especially when it comes to environmental issues. You see other governments, you see transportation issues where our chamber is sending people to Denver, Colorado. I grew up there. I grew up in Colorado, which is kind of a middle-class, basic place to live, but then I chose to move to California. I moved to California because of opportunity and have had a life there. My husband and I decided we were at a different point, the kids were grown up, where do we want to go? And we looked on a map, and I actually chose to come here. This is a beautiful place. The people here are incredible. We're in this amazing melting pot of people, not just domestic or within the nation, but globally. Do you know how many great minds are actually residing in Miami? If we can simply get the government to understand who's here and to serve the public, this is a world-class city waiting to happen. That's why I'm here.
Teresa.
Same response.
You recently took a job as a realtor at Cervera Realty. I suddenly feel like Clint Eastwood, you know, Republican National Convention. So, this career change seems odd because your history doesn't show that you have any experience which qualifies you for this lucrative and prestigious position. It's been suggested that your job was secured in part through your husband's connections to Cervera's chairwoman, who was appointed to the DDA by your husband and whose firm is a brokerage firm for a number of high-profile developments, including developments by George Perez and most likely fellow DDA member involved in the World Center deal. These developments were approved with significant assistance by your husband, along with the FOP endorsement, which occurred without the FOP interviewing a single other candidate. Allegedly also in a potential quid pro quo deal with your husband, Mark Sarnoff. How do you respond to those critics?
When you come from a family with a mom and 8 sisters,
so, because you grew up with a mom and 8 sisters and love dogs, or whatever the hell the other ad was, that qualifies you. Listen, I don't think this is fair at all. I'm going to call Teresa right now on my cell phone and see if she'd like to participate.
Star 6-7.
Shall I leave a message?
Yeah.
Let's go back. Let's go back. What message? That's the message.
Do a crop message.
I'll say, when I want to say, hi, Teresa. It's full and cannot accept new messages. How did you, what if there's an important developer calling? She's going to miss that call. Javi Ortiz is going to have her tasered. She better look out. I mean, Too soon?
She brags about getting the first one.
Too real? I guess we're moving on to round 3. Número 3. The roundtable discussion. These are questions for all of the candidates. And because Seth is here tonight, and he took the time to show up, even though he did not follow the rules or whatever it was and fill out the questionnaire, I'm going to include Seth in this round, if you don't mind. If only because he showed up. ¿Dónde está Rosie? Where's Rosie at? All right. Pizza. 2 weeks ago, and we'll just go in order here, starting with Javi. 2 weeks ago, thousands of young people took to the streets to demand that local government address the real issue of climate change. How can the City of Miami Commission address climate change? And how do we continue to grow and develop as a city, but in a smart, more forward-thinking way?
If I may.
Oh, yes, you bet.
Okay. The city of Miami has a sustainability department, and as a city, I think we need to fund that and keep that relevant. Also, I was one of the only candidates to go to a compact that the counties are running. So West Palm Beach, Broward, Miami-Dade, and also Monroe County are actually in a combined effort for an environmental compact. So there are ideas out there are plans out there at the county level. The city level hasn't really addressed it as well as they should. We do have a sustainability department. It is run by a very, very young, talented staff. And I would see to it that as commissioner, we would fund it, we would keep it relevant, and we would keep it well managed and well funded. So it's out there, we just need to get it done and make more money.
Thanks, Javi. Grace?
I agree with Javi on that one, totally. And also...
That's no fun.
But I'm going to add something. Okay. The Charter of Miami has a requirement that you cannot build more than 50 feet closer to the waterfront. It has its exceptions. I would introduce an amendment that to change the 50 to 100 feet from the waterfront, because we really need to start doing something constructive. Right now, I think Related Group have requested a reduction of that waterfront requirement from 50 to 20. And I think it's a building or a project on the river of Miami, and I believe it was granted. That needs to change. We cannot continue allowing buildings closer than the 100 feet that I'm suggesting.
On the river even.
This one isn't on the river.
How are we supposed to get our cocaine? Never mind, it's all right. I can't. Our stone grants, more importantly. Okay.
I disagree. Not with what Grace just said, but with Javi, we don't have a good environmental plan. The City of Miami is completely backwards when it comes to environmental issues. You see it every day in the headlines. You see it in the attitude of the elected officials, that they rip out mangroves and say, that's oops, sorry about that. That they don't take any, we are the last city in the county to even implement climate change mitigation or sea level rise mitigation. We're behind on every aspect. So it's not just about shoring up the departments that we have. We need advocates in City Hall who really believe in the climate change issues and will be advocates. Who here was at the climate change march? I was there with you. I was there because I do believe in it. And I believe there's a whole generation of people who need to wake up our current government and make sure that they're aware too. And so I'm going to be a very strong advocate for climate change issues.
Is there a drop mic emoji Thank you, Kathy. Lori.
We are so behind globally. We are so behind on a national basis. When you look at other states, you look at California, you look at Washington, they're not settling with building codes that ask for LEED silver. They're looking at living building challenge. They're looking at living community challenge. We have so much that we can do that is not only environmentally friendly and that will help us moving forward, but it is fiscally responsible. We need to kick it up a notch immediately. We need to aggressively think about alternative transportation, not how are we going to put a tunnel underneath the river so that we can drive more cars. We have got to get into 2015 and beyond, and let's look at how we can move people to and from without affecting our environment so negatively. There is so much that we can all do. We have incredible community leaders that are here amongst us, and we can fix this. We can't make it back like it was, but we can move forward and we can protect our environment for our future.
Thanks, Whitney. Seth, I think what Ken was getting at, the spirit of it, is that speaking of negative lists we're at the top of, we have some of the most vulnerable and expensive waterfront real estate property in the world for sea level rise. And what is it that we can do better to protect that here?
Well, you have to remember that Florida used to be entirely underwater, and it's going to be underwater again. So what you can do for the next 50 or 100 years, as long as we're going to be alive, is to start building buildings a little higher. If you build near the river now, you have to be 9 feet above the water line. So you just go a little higher. You know, they used to call Fort Lauderdale the Venice of America, and we're going to have some high water here. But you can't do it like they did in Holland, and just build dikes, because the porous it's all coral rock and it's all very porous, so that water just will come up anyway, no matter what you do. But the stupid things that they did, like draining the Everglades, lowering the water table, the Everglades used to start at 27th Avenue. Everything west of 27th Avenue used to be Everglades. They lowered the water table so it reduced the amount of water here. But it's coming back, and it's good. They put all these pumps in Miami Beach, and it still floods because it's below the water level. So just build a little higher and start getting water taxis and water vehicles to get around there. We'll all survive.